Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. We are in chapter 26 of Numbers here, and we're dealing with the second census. There's several sections that take place in this census here. We talked about the first day as that there was people mentioned by name, and because of the bad things they had done, basically rebelling against God and Moses. And it goes on to speak of them again. They're not just mentioned once in the book of Numbers, they're mentioned twice for the mistakes they made. Then yesterday we talked about the numbering of those 12 tribes, all right? And as you looked at those 12 tribes, you're like, you read through, as I read through that, you thought to yourself, you know what? He's missing a tribe. And that's right, I was missing a tribe. We didn't get to the tribe of Levi. And so today we're talking about the tribe of Levi. Levi was different, okay? When the census was given, they weren't, the purpose was to count the soldiers, and that would be ages 20 and older, okay? However, it was different from the Levites. The Levites weren't soldiers, okay? But they were called to be, to do ministry among the people. All right, so it's a different census just for the Levites, and that's what we're talking about today. Today, I've entitled it, Ministry Doesn't Make you Exempt, okay? Sometimes we get this feeling that, oh, because I'm in ministry, this stuff doesn't apply to me. Oh, it does apply, and it applies even more because we are in ministry. And I want to show you today that just like that generation died off in those 38 years, between the first and the second census there, that generation died off. Also, it affected the Levites too. The Levites also had a huge population decrease also because of this. So you would think that they would be in ministry, they'd be closer to God, but no, they had the same effect because they had the same unbelief just that the people did. All right, so let's read here today. This is taken from Numbers 26, and I'm going to be reading verses 57 to 62. It's actually a little shorter section today. It says, "This is the record of the Levites who were counted according to their clans. The Gershonite clan, named after their ancestor Gershon, the Korite clan, named after their ancestor Korath, and the Merari clan, named after their ancestor Merari. The Libanites, the Hebronites, the Mahites, the Mushites, and the Korites were all subclans of the Levites. Now Korath was the ancestor of Amram, and Amram's wife was named Jochebed." Okay, you're going to think, oh, I've heard those names. Well, that's because it was Moses and Aaron and Miriam's parents. She was also the descendant of Levi, born among the Levites in the land of Egypt. Amram and Jochebed became the parents of Aaron and Moses and their sister Miriam. There you go. That's why they're important. To Aaron was born Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died when they burned before the Lord with the wrong kind of fire, different than he had commanded. And that happened way early on in the ministry. You know, just after they got the tabernacle set up, they just like, let me just do it my way instead of God's way. And God killed them for that. All right. Verse 62, the men from the Levite clans who were 1 month old or older numbered 23,000. Get that? That's different. Okay. They were numbering if you were 1 month old or older. All right. And the reason for that is because the tribe of Levi was taken by God as really a sacrifice. They were called by God as a sacrifice. So you were supposed to give up your firstborn. Well, God took the tribe of Levi in place of that. Okay, so that's why that is. And so that's why and these guys weren't fighting. And so that's why you have the number is 1 month old and older, not 20 years old and older. All right. So it says, verse 62, the men from the Levite clans who were 1 month old and older numbered 23,000. But the Levites were not included in the registration of the rest of the people of Israel because they were not given an allotment of land when it was divided among the Israelites. Okay, they were given cities, and if I remember right, it's like 40-something cities, if I remember right. They were given cities to live in, but their primary objective was to do ministry. And so that's what God had called them to. But the rest of the tribes, they were, farming and doing all this other stuff. So they had larger sections of land. All right. But what I want you to see here is this. And remember, it was 23,000 Levites in that section. Again, Warren Wiersbe writes again about the difference. From the first census to the second, the number of Levites increased slightly from 22,000 to 23,000. So there was an increase of 1,000 during that time. And again, you have to remember, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but before all this happened, it was a population explosion with that. You got to go back and you got to think, when they first went into Egypt, it was 12 brothers and their father. Okay, and then they got married and had kids, and it was this population explosion. Now for these 38 years, the tribe of Levi has only grown by 1,000. I say all this to say that by you being in the ministry, it doesn't make you exempt from what's happening with the people. If God is punishing the people, he's punishing the ministry leaders too. And you can see, you go back, and the Levites were acting the same way the people were. When they were complaining after the 12 spies came back, it doesn't say everyone complained but the Levites, and Levites were trusting God, and so they didn't complain. No, it was everybody complaining. Okay, and we're going to get into that again tomorrow, talking about that minority that actually stood up for God. All right. Hey, so join me tomorrow. We're going to conclude. There's just a few more verses left. We're going to conclude the second census tomorrow. Lord's blessing. I'll see you tomorrow.